What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Classic Chronicles, man. I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend and is ready to conquer the week that is, man. And so we just gonna get right into it on this week on today's episode, man. And I'm gonna talk all about my my experience doing my one man show, Man Behind the Wheel. But before I do, let's get into a little highlight montage of the day, put together put together then by none other than my buddy, my friend, my big brother, Victor. Man. So yeah, enjoy this. All right, man. So let's talk all about the day. Man behind the wheel. Matter of fact, before we talk about the day, let me just take you and give you a little behind the scenes. Uh, pulling back the curtain, so to speak, on how this all became together. How this all came together, I should say. So, Man Behind the Wheel has been a passion project of mine for at least the last 15 years, man. So, and it started because I had a conversation with my professor, my former improv professor, Megan Duffy, on the last day of class. So in lieu of the final, she just said, "Hey, come to my office and let's have a conversation about your grade and what you think you deserve." And I'm gonna then at the end of that conversation, I'm gonna tell you what I gave you and why I gave it to you, the grade I gave you and why I gave it to you. So then we have our conversation, and then she gives me my grade, got an A, and then she then the conversation shifts into you have a very interesting journey because you're the first person that I've worked with in a wheelchair. That's what she told me. The first student that she ever had in a wheelchair, and you kind of embody what improv is. You're very good at making something out of nothing, and occupying the space that you're given, and all that good stuff. Really souping my head up. So, and she's like, "Did you ever think about writing it down?" And I was like, no. I'm thinking to myself, I'm a very private person. I don't want to put everything out there. Nobody would really care. So, so she's like, no, just write it down and then send it to me and write a chapter, send it to me, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So fast forward, kept writing. Took a break to finish my undergrad degree in the spring of 2013. Then went on to get my master's degree shortly after in theater arts. And what do you call it? No. So then fast forward to 2015, I'm going to say, where I did like a test reading of what the show was going to be at a certain point, which is me, reading, memorizing a script, and then like basically just going out and performing it. But as I've found over the years, very I'm terrible at memorizing scripts. So during the test reading, we did we did the test reading in front of maybe like 15 people, and then at the end was a little Q&A where I told some stories, and at the end Professor Duffy said, hey, what if we get more of this, Isaiah, because she can see that I seemed more comfortable telling stories rather than memorizing a script and just doing it generically. So uh, fast forward again to a couple of years. Fast forward again, and the wheels for man behind the wheel, pun intended, got in motion, and up until like maybe 2 3 years ago, the project stalled. Things happen. Resources that I thought I had, I no longer had access to. So, but knowing the determined person that I am, I was able to get it done thanks to Isaac, my buddy Isaac, who owns the beautiful, beautiful performance space, the Brooklyn Art House. He invited me to see the place when it was just bare bones, and he asked my input on it, and man, I gave it to him, and come 2 3 years later, it's turned into one of the premier performance spaces in New York City. So I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of the team, and then getting fast forward to last Saturday. Not this Saturday that just passed. The Saturday before. The day before Mother's Day, as a matter of fact. Fast forward to then, man, and I got to actually perform a one man show, man, and about 30 people came out. It was incredible, man. Family, friends, people who I haven't seen in a while. They all came to watch me and my buddy Mike, who's a sit down comedian, perform, and it was just an incredible day, man. I remember being incredibly nervous, man. Even like minutes before I went out there, I didn't really talk to anybody other than Professor Duffy, who was going to introduce me, and Isaac, and the technician. Shout out to Vic, who did all the technical work on my show. Very, 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 very cool dude, and we got it done, man. I had to get there like an hour and a half before the show started, because just to go over some last minute stuff, and man, we pulled it off. Professor Duffy, myself, Isaac, Mike, and the rest of the and my ride or die click, because this doesn't come together without them, and specifically, Crystal and Christina, who have been part of this journey since its inception, and they helped me out with the show, um, and kind of giving it the direction that we would ultimately take it in, which is talk about the stories and situations that defined me, and that kind of shaped the man behind the wheel, hence the name for the title. uh, sh- uh, you know um, Everybody, the reason why I named it that was because everybody seems to think that the wheelchair defines me, and that is a very, very common misconception in the differently able community, that our disability defines us rather than the person that we are. Everything, you strip away the disability, and what do you have? You have a regular person that goes through things, and has their days and all of that, and that's kind of the message that I wanted to convey with this performance. Um, but yeah, I was incredibly nervous. Everyone loved it, but I was incredibly nervous. I found some stuff wrong with it. Like, I felt like it was incredibly rushed, due to time constraints, and all that. But I left out my friends. Like, like I was supposed to tell stories about them, and I left that out, and it kind of sucks. I kind of wish that I had the opportunity to tell those stories because they are very very funny and very amazing. But for the most part, I I was happy with my performance, and you know, people and everybody that came out kept congratulating me, and so they were happy with it. But I kind of want to do a part two, not only to give my friends the platform that my family, I should say family, the platform that they deserve, but you know. To tell more stories because there are so many more stories that could have been told that weren't able to be told in this incarnation, but definitely want to work on a part two, and and we will. And shout out to my biological family, my niece Katie, my brother Doug, my mother, Linda that was there, and everybody else that came out, and my little sisters, Janaea and Shay that were there, man. It was just a really, really nice, beautiful day. Not weather wise, but as far as, just coming together and, sharing this journey with them. Because there was a lot of stuff in there that not even my family knew about, which is kind of nerve wracking to just share those things. Like I can put this out there now because it is out there, and I talked about my suicide attempt, and I talked about a lot of things that my family didn't know about, and thankfully they took it in stride, and they thought it was a great performance. And like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to doing it again. Yeah, and it will be done again in the future. But man, what a great day it was. Thankful for everybody that came out, and this is just the beginning. As I said in the closing to my show, this is just the beginning of this journey. But who knows what the future holds? But for right now, I'm gonna enjoy this small victory, and then on to the next one, I guess. But yeah, that is gonna do it for this episode of the Classic Chronicles. Like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to hit that notification button so you don't miss a video. And of course, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.